so much for joining me today. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Joe. We'll do it all again tomorrow at 9:30. Right now, it's 12 o'clock on Radio 2. Here's Jeremy.
Thank you so much, Gary. Good afternoon. Yes, it is Monday afternoon, and yes, it's the Jeremy Vine Show, and you're most welcome, as always. Today, are the animal rights protesters who delayed the Grand National the heroes or villains of your weekend? Retailers say they're seeing thousands of customers swapping fresh food for frozen to save money. I wonder if you're one of them. After one is Medical Monday. Bit of a difference today. It's about your pet dog or cat or lizard or miniature pig. Do get in touch. A vet is on hand. And we'll speak to the BBC commentator who promised to get a tattoo if a striker with Northampton Town scored 20 goals this season, and he did. Have you made a rash promise you had to follow through on?
Jeremy Vine.
Listen live on the BBC Sounds app.
BBC Radio 2.
All that coming. Let's go to the newsroom first and hear the very latest from Anna Jones.
Thanks, Jeremy. The UK government has demanded the immediate release of one of President Putin's most prominent critics. A court in Russia has sentenced the journalist and opposition activist Vladimir Kara-Murza to 25 years in prison on charges widely seen as politically motivated. Mr. Kara-Murza, who has British citizenship, played a key role in persuading Western governments to sanction Russian officials and spoke out against the war in Ukraine. His wife, Yevgenia Kara-Murza, spoke to the BBC before the hearing.
They hate him so much, and they're so much afraid of him that they need to lock him up for a quarter of a century to stop him from continuing his work. I'm terrified, of course, but I admire my husband for his refusal to back down, because I believe that it is people like my husband who actually change the world.
2 people have been found dead after reports of canoeists getting into difficulty in Bedfordshire. Police say they received calls about 2 capsized canoes and a woman in difficulty in the River Ouse in Kempston yesterday morning. The Prime Minister has defended his plans for maths in schools in England when teachers are preparing to go on strike this month and next. A review will be set up to ensure pupils study the subject up to the age of 18. Rishi Sunak said that an anti-maths mindset needed to be changed. A leader of the National Education Union, Dr Mary Bousted, said there weren't enough teachers to deliver Mr Sunak's pledge. She also criticised a lack of further talks with teachers in their dispute over pay.
It's part of a pattern, isn't it, of just not engaging with nurses, not engaging with doctors, not engaging with teachers, not engaging with sectors of public workers who are going on strike because of over a decade now of below inflation pay rises.
Ministers say their pay offer is fully funded, fair and reasonable. Labour has promised to double the number of GPs being trained if it wins the next general election. The government says it's making real progress in getting patients to see their GP quickly, but Thangnam Debonair, who's in the shadow cabinet, says there's an urgent need for more family doctors.
Nearly 3 million people have no longer got the same GP practice. Now that's made the 8 o'clock phone scramble a real daily reality for anyone who wants an appointment with a doctor. Only 7,500 doctors start training each year, and that's a cap that the Tories have been content to leave in place, even though we're obviously short of doctors and have been for years. We would double that.
Fighting is raging for a third day in the Sudanese capital, Khartoum. The clashes are part of a power struggle within the country's military leadership, who have failed to deliver a transition to civilian government. Doctors in Sudan say almost 100 civilians have died. The Foreign Secretary, James Cleverly, is urging both sides to return to talks. And Melbourne has overtaken Sydney as Australia's most populous city. The latest figures show that Melbourne has almost 19,000 more residents. The claim comes after a boundary change recently increased the size of Melbourne. BBC News, it's 4 minutes past 12.
That would be the reason then. Thank you. Today's programme in 4 words: horses freezing pet tattoos.
Listen live on the BBC Sounds app.